Kalie. I am a college freshman. I am studying media and communications and creative writing. I have two dogs who are the loves of my life. I write YA contemporary, and my current book that I'm working on is a young adult Mamma Mia, and I have had a lot of fun with it. Um, I don't know if there's anything else you want to know there.
That sounds great. Thank you. When did you start writing, Kaylee?
I don't really remember not writing. I feel like that's a really cliche answer, but I remember sitting in my class in grade 3 and writing a picture book and pasting pictures from Google Images. It never went anywhere, of course. And writing a half rhyming, half not picture book. So that was like my earliest memory, but I started seriously writing when I was 12. My mom told me that if I finished a book, I could come to a writing conference with her. And I really liked challenges. So I had this notebook and I wrote the whole book in that. And then I transcribed it onto the computer and I got to the writing conference. That was when I started creating and writing novels, and I stopped since.
Wow, that sounds incredible.
Thanks.
Wow. Why do you write?
Um, I mean, I guess a lot of reasons. I'm a pretty shy person, so I feel like writing gives me a space to kind of figure out who I am, and like it's as much in self-discovery as it is sharing these worlds and people. Um, and I mean, there's just always a story. Like listening to music, walking down the street, like there's always a story, and I can't imagine my life without writing, without meeting people like you and my friends and all of my other friends, and like it's such a big part of my life that I just write because that it's what I do. Like I can't really pinpoint it. It's just there's a story, and I just love writing and publishing. And
Where do you like to write, Kaylee?
okay, a lot of places. I like to write I'm in my mom's office right now. I like to write in here, sitting in the corner by the bookshelves, even though she's got a chair. Um, I like to write in my bedroom, on the floor, on the couch. I don't really have like a designated writing spot. Sometimes I'll just write like lying on the floor with my laptop on my stomach. So pretty much anywhere.
What's your writing process?
It kind of changes book by book. I do a minimal plotting to begin with. I really like to know the ending of a story before I start it, and like what I'm leading up to. The middle's always my foggiest point that I've got to kind of wade through. Um, but I like to have my ending. I become more of an outliner like after the mentorships I've been through, and I really like outlining it and like sending to CPs like, does this book make sense? So now I do that more, but I typically just draft it. It goes way off course, and then I reverse outline it, and revising is when I bring out my cue card stack and spread that across my entire floor.
What's reverse outlining? I have never heard of it before.
Okay, I hadn't heard of it either. I went to my friend from Author Mentor Match and I'm like, what is a reverse outline? Is it literally just going from end to beginning? And she's like, no, Kalie. And so she was lovely and explained to me, it's like, I'm hoping I get this right. She can correct me later if I'm wrong. But when you have the finished book and then you outline the book, like, but you've already got it finished. So like I did this the other day with my book because I kind of wanted to make a map of it. So I went through the book and I was like, oh, this happens in this chapter that's already written, and this happens in this chapter. So it's like you're outlining what's already there, I think.
Oh, that sounds so cool.
Yeah, it's really helpful. I'm very thankful she explained it to me.
Yeah, I should give it a try too. That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. Do you listen to music when you write?
That kind of varies, actually. I listen to music when I brainstorm and outline and do my chores and walking around. Like I always have the book playlist of the current book I'm working on. But when I actually write, it sometimes I'll be able to listen to music in the background, but other times I need like no music because I start getting distracted and like singing along to the song. So it kind of varies depending on the part of the book, the mood, all sorts of stuff. But I always listen to music while I'm working on that book, even if it's not the actual writing part.
Do you create a playlist for the whole project, or like for each character, for different emotions and stuff?
I usually have a couple playlists for each project. Like my book, The Last Love Song, that's the Mamma Mia one. I've got the playlist. My sister is really like into all music, so she made me this amazing like 5-hour playlist. That's like my favorite thing ever. So I've got that, and then I've got a only Taylor Swift song playlist for the book. I've got for my main character when I was revising her arc, I had just for her, but I typically do it for the full book, and then I'll just vary like I have my country music playlist, my Taylor Swift playlist, my playlist my sister made.
Do you have any writing rituals?
Typically when I write, I reread my outline before I write. So I mean, I have a photographic memory, so by the time I'm done, I'm so bored of my outline. But I really like, I just like to read it and then I feel calmer and like I can dive in. So I guess maybe not really a ritual, but I always like to give that a reread. And then I usually reread way too much of the book. Sometimes I go back to the beginning and start my reread and then get no writing done, but just a lot of rereading.
What do you do if you have a writer's block?
Um, okay, I'm not sure like if this is like I mean, I don't think there's a right answer. Everyone's different, but I actually the times I've had writer's block, I take a break from writing and I just kind of remember what's outside of writing. Like I read some favorite books, I go for a walk, I try and um like actually be social. um and sometimes I've had some of my plot breakthroughs like after I've had a break from writing. Like I literally had one brushing my teeth and then had to run to my room and write it down. um so yeah, I just kind of try and separate from it and I think on it, but I don't let myself like I'll become completely like obsessed with fixing it if I let myself just keep going back to it. So I've tried to start removing myself a little bit and letting it just like process.
That sounds like a great advice. Yeah.
It works for me most of the time.
Mm-hmm. What is your revision process like?
Oh, that's when the cue cards come out. I really like having, I only use them for revisions because I don't like want to have 1,000 cue cards per. And I have the digital cue card board that my mentor introduced me to. But I really like for the first revision to have from my cue card stack and spread it out on my floor and like rearrange it like physically. It helps me figure it out. So that's a big part. And then once it's all color coded and rearranged, I'll make a stack and then I'll just go cue card by cue card and like physically watch the revision become less and less. Um, I have lots of like notebooks. I usually have a designated notebook for each project where I jot my revision ideas. My one for the last love song is this rose one my grandma got me for Christmas. But I'll have a million other notebooks where I couldn't find that notebook, so I scribbled something in the first page or the margins. And yeah, just a lot of note taking and cue cards. And I always try to reread it before I revise it because rereading is a big part of my process.
You mentioned the digital key cards. Can you recommend me any special like program or website? Where can I find it?
Oh yeah. So actually my favorite site for writing, I know there's a lot of like Scrivener fans and like all sorts of writing sites, but my favorite is Trello. Um, and it is this digital cue card thing, and I'm able to lay out like all my books. You can make like a list of cue cards and rearrange them and color code them and have it all laid out on there. And I like decorating it because you can make a pretty background and all the colors specified to different parts of the book. But it lets you make a bunch of boards for free. So it really helps me. I'm very visual, so I like to see it.
Wow, that sounds Amazing. Thank you so much for telling me about it.
Yeah, I can DM you the link after this if you want.
Thank you. That sounds actually fun.
It is actually. It makes revisions a lot more fun. Although I actually like revision.
What's, in your opinion, the biggest misconception about being a teen writer?
Oh, probably lack of experience, because I don't think that age always indicates your experience level, and I think that's a big thing where a lot of the time teen writers are viewed as very like new and like don't really know what they're doing. And from the people I've met, like some of the teen writers I've met are some of my favorite critique partners. They give such insightful notes. And I mean, even from experience, like I queried for 7 years and I'm still 18. So it doesn't always mean like people are like most of my friends have been at it for a while, even if they're only like 18, 19. So I think a lot of the time that equation doesn't really work, but it's a common one. And I just think that teen writers deserve a little bit more credit for. I've always found they give great notes and have beautiful books. And I'm kind of rambling now, but
It's fine.
I don't think age means experience necessarily in every case.
Wow, 7 years of querying. That's remarkable that you didn't give up. That's wow, truly inspiring.
Thank you. It was a long one.
Yeah. What are the pros of writing young adult novels as a teen?
I think there's a level of like immediacy and authenticity. Like you're living it right now. These feelings are so raw and like you've been through this, or you just like you're still kind of coming of age and you're writing and growing up alongside your own books. So I think that can be a really special experience, especially when writing becomes so intertwined with growing up and discovering yourself. And I don't know, it can just create another level of a bond with writing that can be really magical.
Can you tell me, please, about your TeenPit and author mentor match experience?
Yeah, of course. I'm a big fan of mentorship programs. I really like the community they build. I mean, Team Pit really was the kickstart of like when I really was like, oh, maybe I can actually like do this. I was, I think, 14 or 15 when I got in, and I met one of my best friends in my round and my first ever critique partner. And then the next year, I wasn't part of Team Pit, but I connected with one of my other best friends through the like community it built. So it just, I've always found that the mentorships they give, the most important thing that I've gotten from them is friendship and community and that support system. And author mentor match was the same thing. Like I'm the round six people who I went through it with are wonderful, and I still talk to so many of them and exchange books with them, and they're some of my favorite authors. And same with my teen pit friends. And I like author mentor match. Some of my other closest friends are from round seven or round eight. Like it really just is a kind of family community experience for Teen Pit and author mentor match. I've been lucky enough to have at least. And so I'm just really grateful for the people I met, and my craft definitely improved, but it also improved because of the people that it connected me to who helped me shape my writing and learn new techniques or what reverse outlines are or yeah. So I'm really grateful, and I think that I wouldn't be where I am without those people and those programs.
Yeah, and community is so important. I mean, writing can be such a lonely process, and it's so easy to give up. So having friends and critique partners probably really helps you
Yeah,
to
it
keep
feels
writing.
less lonely that way.
Yeah. What was your road to publication like?
I mean, it was a long one, 7 years querying, which um, it was a ride. I started when I was 12. I sent one query for my first book to a conference request. That book was awful. I feel so bad that I ever queried it. And then I wrote a new book, and that one never went anywhere because it was really bad too. And then I wrote another book, and that was my teen pit book. There were a couple like 20,000 word middle grade and young adult drafts in the midst of that. And then Teen Pit happened, and I revised that book. I queried it for a long time. Went to another conference, this time not as an attendee, but just stayed in the hotel as my mom went to workshops and got to meet amazing people there nonetheless and feel part of it. I connected with some really amazing publishing professionals who kind of took me under their wing a bit and like, you've got something here. And that was like slowly a little bit of confidence building, like, okay, maybe I'm not kidding myself. And then I got into author mentor match with my first young adult contemporary. And that's when I kind of felt like I, found what I was supposed to. I still remember when my critique partners and closest friend, she was like, yeah, you found your place with young adult contemporary. And it's just kind of stuck with me and kept me pushing forward. And then my author mentor match book got shelved, and that broke my heart. But I wrote another book, and I think I loved it even more. And then I queried that one, and I got an R&R, and it's my second R&R, but this one I sat down, I revised it, and I did some pit mads. They went amazing for the first time ever. I've done pit mads since I was like 11 years old and never had anything like that, but it was incredible to see and to feel. And I met some more friends through pit mad, and then I got the email, and I had only sent my revision to the R&R agent because I just had this, like, I felt something there. And she read it and she offered, and she said I could query more, but I just said, I just want to work with you. And we signed that day, and I have been revising and drafting, and I don't know, I guess that's where it's at right now. And it's been a pretty great ride, all the highs and lows.
You started querying at such a young age. How did you find out about, like, agents and queries and like how to submit queries?
I mean, my mom's an author, so that was definitely a big help, because when I was, I think, between 8 and 10, she started querying books. And
Wow.
that, like, my mom's like my hero. So it was like that burst of, I want to be like my mom. Like, I want to do this too. And then it became something that I was actually like, this became my life. And it's a cool connection there. And she helped me and held my hand a lot. I mean, she took me to that writing conference, and that really like just changed the way I looked at things. And I mean, I sent some really bad queries before. Like, I believe my first query was like one paragraph that made no sense, and then like it was it was an interesting letter. So it definitely was a learning process. And then I started to, like, I'd love to work in publishing one day, so I started to research, and I had lists of agents I wanted to query, and like, oh, this book, this is who I want to query for this book. Oh wait, I have this idea. And then I started to get more and more specific and focused. And I mean, having a mom who did it first, really, I was very lucky there.
What are you working on there right now?
I was doing a reread of the book I signed with my agent for, which was kind of nice to fall back into that world. I'm working on Sapphic Gatsby. That's kind of, I've pitched as Gatsby. Sorry, my puppies are barking. I don't know why. My sister came to get them. But I pitched it to my agent as a Sapphic Gatsby meets The Last Great American Dynasty by Taylor Swift. So I've been really trying to like channel that, and it's a fun one to work on. So I've been doing that, and honestly doing a lot of homework, so not as much writing as I'd like.
If you could share one piece of advice with other writers, what would it be?
Don't give up is like a common one, but kind of be your own advocate too. Like, I have a hard time like telling myself like I love this book, or like I actually have something here. And I think that that's always hard, especially for ourselves, but like it's okay to love your book and to believe in yourself and to think you've got something. It's okay not to too, because sometimes it's really hard to. But I think that if you just keep being there for yourself, like you take care of yourself when you have the rejections, you hype yourself up for all the little successes. I think that being there for yourself can really get you through the hard times too. So that would be something I'm still working on, and a big advice to others.
That's a great advice. Okay, time for a quick fire round of questions.
Okay, I'll try to be quick. Sometimes I think too long.
Okay, let's do it. Panther or plotter?
In the middle.
Overwriter or underwriter?
I used to be an underwriter, like seriously underwriter, like 30,000 word drafts, but now I'm an overwriter with like 100,000 word drafts.
Interesting. First person present or third person past?
First person present, but I admire people who can write third person.
Me too. Happy endings or sad endings?
Happy endings.
Favorite young adult novels?
Oh, that's a hard one. I love Don't Date Rosa Santos. I love Have a Little Faith in Me. I love Where It All Lands. And I love Kismet Connection. Keep an eye out for that one in 2023. That one is fantastic.
Oh, that's Anania's book.
Yeah, fantastic. So lucky to have read it. So that's a favorite. And then I have a lot of friends' books that are favorite books ever that I reread.
Favorite word?
Love.
Favorite trope?
Childhood best friends to lovers.
Dream author blurb?
Any of the writers I just listed. I also think I'm a very big fan of Wibroka, and then I'm a big fan of Becky Albertalli, Nina Liqueur. I don't know. I have a lot of authors I look up to.
And the last question, is there anything else you would like to talk about?
I think the questions really covered it. I just want to say thank you for having me and making me feel like comfortable. That's hard for me on the phone or video, but I really enjoyed chatting with you.
It was my pleasure. Thank you so much for doing this. And I mean, I admire your writing and your banners. So
Thank you.
you're a huge inspiration.
Oh, thank you.